How's it going, fellas in the files? This is Dominic from Film Overload, the channel where we talk about movies, pop culture, and everything in between. And once again, I am back with another rankings video. And as you could probably tell by the thumbnail, I am going to be ranking all of Quentin Tarantino's films. His films are just a ball of energy from start to finish, just unbelievably wicked fun, great stories. His writing is just so good. His characters are iconic, and he is also known for just having some ridiculous endings to all of his films, and somehow all of them feel incredibly satisfying. Some of his films are indeed my favorite films of all time, and I just love his style, I love his work, and I cannot wait for his next work. It's been so long, it feels like, since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood back in 2019, and I am dying to see his next film. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the ranking. Alright, so we are back in our trusty tier list maker, as you can see down below, and I was able to find a template for all of Quentin Tarantino's films, so let's get on with the rankings, shall we? And once again, like David Fincher in my previous video, I really believe that Quentin does not have a definitive bad film. Yes, there are some that I like more than others, but I personally feel like that he does not have a bad film. So kicking off this tier list with my least favorite Quentin Tarantino film, and my least favorite Tarantino film, and it's still a pretty solid film, but it's my least favorite Tarantino film, and that is Death Proof. When I first watched this film, it was a little bit out there. I thought it was somewhat confusing. The only thing that kept me involved in this movie was that group of characters that Quentin just effortlessly weaves together. I thought his writing was solid, but for me personally, the story just did not grip me right away. And I was kind of concerned about that when I first saw this film, and I rewatched this film about 2 times after I watched it for the first time, and I still had that same feeling of, okay, well, the writing is good, the characters are good, but the story is just not hitting the way I want it to, and that really took some points off of my overall final score, which is why it is my least favorite Tarantino film. Moving on to the solid portion of this tier list, these are films I genuinely enjoyed, and I really enjoyed them a lot. They're not perfect, but I really did enjoy these films. And to kick off the solid portion of this tier list, I have Reservoir Dogs. This is Quentin's real breakout film. This movie it's a very fun ride. Lots of different elements going on in this film. I really do enjoy how Quentin tells this story. I've seen this film multiple times, and I just really love how he is so able to just effortlessly weave these various stories and different characters together. And Reservoir Dogs was really one of those films that I can see why it was such a popular film and what really kickstarted his career, because this film is really solid. I loved the cast, classic Quentin in terms of the screenplay, a very simple story, but the way Quentin tells stories, it's never ever simple. There's always ups and downs and twists and turns, and that is why Reservoir Dogs is the very first film on the solid portion of the tier list. The final film on the solid portion of the tier list is a film that I watched a while ago, and once again, I really enjoyed this film a lot. I thought it was a very interesting film, and I would arguably say it is his most unique in his filmography, and that is Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown is one of those films where you go, oh, that was Tarantino. It's just one of those films that, you know, that doesn't really, feel like Quentin. Obviously it is Quentin because you can just tell through his writing style and how he crafts characters, especially in Jackie Brown here. But it really is a film that people, I think, just forget about because all of his other work is just so more popular and much more like worldwide known that people forget or overlook that Quentin also made a movie like Jackie Brown. Once again, a solid story, great writing, in my opinion, from Tarantino. Pam Grier puts in a great performance. Samuel Jackson has an Oscar nomination for this film. Once again, a very enjoyable film, and that is why it is the one to round out the solid portion of the tier list. All right, moving on to the amazing portion of this tier list, and there are only 2 films in this bracket, once again, but these 2 films, in my opinion, are just absolute staples of Quentin Tarantino, in my honest opinion. And to kick off the amazing portion of this tier list, I have to go with the one that is just the most quotable film of his, and just one that is just so beloved by so many people, and that is Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is just one of those films that you can press play and it just flows. It's just one of those films that is very, very special. And once again, this is the film that, in my opinion, made Quentin Tarantino Quentin Tarantino. It's that film that is so quotable and so catchy and just so memorable. And that's what I think people love about this film, is that this film is so memorable. There's so many great scenes in this film. The storytelling is brilliant. Quentin, his screenplay is just phenomenal. John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson and Uma Thurman and all the actors in this film are just so good. And they really make this film what it is. There is so many quotable moments because of the performances that are put into this film. And this film has so much heart and so much spirit flowing through this film, and every single segment of film stock that Quentin used for this film, you can just tell that there's so much heart in this film. And that's why Pulp Fiction will be the very first film in the amazing portion of this tier list. However, there is one film that I personally believe is slightly better than Pulp Fiction. Yes, that might stir up the pot just a little bit, but this is just my personal opinion. But there's one film that I find a little bit more meaty, more juicy, so to speak. And for me, that's The Hateful Eight. I am not much of a Western guy, just throwing that out there. But when I saw this film, I was just transformed. This film is unbelievable. Yes, it's a slow burn. Yes, you have to wait and wait and wait to really feel satisfied about what you are watching. But if you put in that time and that effort, and if you pay attention to detail, all that Quentin is trying to tell you through this film is amazing. Once again, a stellar cast, a fantastic screenplay, and once again, a very simple premise to the story, but the way Quentin tells this story, it's just so good. And The Hateful Eight will round out the amazing portion of this tier list, and one of my personal favorites of Tarantino's. We have finally made it to the top 5 Quentin Tarantino films, in my personal opinion. And we have finally made it to the perfect portion of this tier list. These last 5 films, I personally find perfect. They are perfect. There's not a single blemish on these 5 films. And to kick off the top 5 Tarantino films, I have his most recent work, which is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yes, this might be his most divisive film in his filmography, but I am an absolute sucker for films that take place or is set in the Hollywood industry. I love those types of films that really dive into the industry, i.e. Sunset Boulevard, or just films that tackle characters who are working on a film set or in the film industry. I just love those types of films, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was just one of those films. I really dug the vibe. I loved the late 60s, early 70s kind of vibe that this film gives off. I just absolutely loved that. Once again, Quentin just directs the heck out of this movie. His screenplay I thought was really, really solid. One of my personal favorite endings of Tarantino's as well. I think DiCaprio is fantastic. Brad Pitt totally deserved his Academy Award. I thought Margot Robbie, for the limited time we had her in this film, I thought she did a really good job with it. The side plots were great. I love the music from that time period. This film was just a treat when I watched this in the theater back in 2019. I absolutely loved this movie when I first saw it, and I still love it to this day. And that's why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my number 5 in my top 5 Tarantino movies. At number 4, I have Kill Bill Volume 2. The way this film ends is astounding. When I first saw this film, after watching the first one, obviously, this film, the ending is just incredible. And who knows, maybe there's a third one maybe out there somewhere that Quentin has on his computer somewhere. I don't know, but the way this film ends, I thought was just lovely. It completes the bride's character arc. We get to see her complete her goal that was first established in Kill Bill Volume 1. I love the final showdown. This film is just wonderful. It's in my top 50 of all time. It's just amazing. I love the Kill Bill saga, and this just ended it perfectly. And that's why Kill Bill Volume 2 is my number 4 Tarantino film. Coming in at number 3, I have a film that, in my opinion, should have won the Academy Award for Best Picture the year it came out, and that is Inglourious Basterds. Look, there are films that have it all. There are very few films that have it all, and Inglourious Basterds is one of those films that has it all. The story is incredible. Just the vibe and the tone that Quentin brings to this film is amazing. The writing is outstanding. The characters are wonderful, and arguably this film has the best film villain to ever exist, played to perfection by Christoph Waltz. His character in this, you absolutely despise this guy. And when the movie ends and certain things happen, you literally cheer that those things happen because you hate this guy that much. And this film is just incredible. This film has it all, and that's why I think it should have won Best Picture the year it came out. I'm a big fan of The Hurt Locker, but The Hurt Locker does not have it all. Inglourious Basterds has it all. It's a fantastic film, and that is why it is my number 3 on my Tarantino list. At number 2, I have another Western. Well, there's a spoiler for that right away, I guess. But at number 2, I have Django Unchained. Django Unchained is my favorite Western and will be my favorite Western of all time. Once again, Quentin knocks it out of the park. The story is amazing. One of the best screenplays, in my opinion, of recent times, I would say. This screenplay is amazing. Jamie Foxx puts on a clinic. So does Christoph Waltz, who won his second Oscar at the time, being in back-to-back Tarantino films, believe it or not. But just everything about this film, once again, is amazing. Even Leonardo DiCaprio should have gotten a little bit more love from the award guilds. I think that he, for the limited amount of time that we had him for, was amazing. Once again, it's kind of a slower burn, which can turn some people off, but for me personally, this film was amazing from start to finish. I absolutely love this film, and that is why this is my second favorite Tarantino film. I absolutely love Django Unchained and will forever love Django Unchained. And finally, my favorite Quentin Tarantino film is Kill Bill Volume 1. This is perfection. All these films on this tier is perfection, but this film, Kill Bill Volume 1, is perfection. It's my fourth favorite film of all time currently, and I love it. The style of it, the story, the script, Uma Thurman's powerhouse performance, just the villains that Tarantino creates and the situations for the bride that he creates. It's just so tasteful. It's tasteful. It's a film that just takes you into another world, and Quentin is so good at just having you latch onto a character through his oh so clever writing and his storytelling. I absolutely love Kill Bill Volume 1. I love Kill Bill Volume 2, but there's just something about Kill Bill Volume 1. And come on, who doesn't love that vibrant yellow suit that Uma Thurman wears? It's so iconic at this point. I just love every single detail about this film, and that is why Kill Bill Volume 1 is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. So there it is, guys. There's my Quentin Tarantino rankings video. I am really enjoying making these ranking videos, and if you guys want to see more of these ranking videos and other content very similar to it, hit that like button. Also hit subscribe while you're at it, and turn on the post notifications so that you guys can get notified every single time that I post a video. You can follow me on Letterboxd, which is right here. I post all of my movie reviews on Letterboxd, as it helps me keep track of movies that I have watched, movies that I haven't watched, and movies that I will watch. I think you guys would benefit greatly from this app and this website if you are indeed lovers of cinema like myself. As always, guys, happy movie watching. Take care.